रहा है वो तो करने देते हैं। ये भी खा लेते हैं। Hello and a very good morning. Thanks for tuning in to News 9 Live. I'm Kabir Naqvi. Joining me here in the broadcast is my colleague Nancy Bora, and what we're essentially up to every day in the morning at 8 a.m. is to take a look at the overnight developments, is to take a look at the top headlines. What are some English newspapers, Hindi newspapers suggesting? And that's not all. Tabloid headlines and what the social media is abuzz with is also going to be our focus. If there's a meme that we have to talk about, well, we'll put it up on the big wall, and so will happen to all the viral videos that we're going to take up as well. If there is, of course, a viral video that we can show you safely in public domain, that is. But a list of stories that we have jotted down for you to cover so that you can stay on top of the news pulse of the day, so that you don't have to move around. This is essentially a one-stop shop to consume what the day essentially looks like in terms of political developments, in terms of global headlines, and news from all realms and all sectors. Of course, we have jotted down a list. Manipur army jawan on leave getting abducted and killed is going to be our focus. We're going to start talking about that because it's absolutely abhorrent that something like that is happening in Manipur. But that's not all. We're also going to talk about how the centre is going to withdraw the rapid action force from there. Special session of the parliament is going to start today. So much to talk about. Yesterday, the flag hoisting ceremony took place. It was the Prime Minister's birthday. I'm reading here in the front page. India Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi 73. Namo Divyang Empowerment Mission, Namo Labour Welfare Mission, Namo Women Empowerment Mission, Namo 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 Nama. Prime Minister's 73rd birthday. There's so much that he inaugurated, so much that is slated to happen today in the parliament as well. That's going to be our focus, so stay tuned. Lots of bills that are going to be taken up, and what's really on the agenda? Opposition is saying that you're still not telling us what why is there so much of secrecy around what the agenda is going to be. Then there was a big push for women's quota at the all-party meet that was held yesterday. Several opposition leaders also over there, a part of that meet. It's day 5 of the anti-terror operation that is being carried out in Anantnag, in Kokarnag. It's a treacherous area, the topography. We've already lost, our brave hearts. But the security forces, the joint operation, it persists because we still have to neutralize the terrorist operations that are happening and taking place in that area. Flood-like situation in parts of Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh. I saw visuals of Ujjain, really ghastly stuff. Every now and then, the extreme weather events this year, they've been far too plenty, raising an eyebrow or two, let me tell you that. Also Shantiniketan, to which there was a lot of celebration, and Mamata Banerjee, she was very happy. She reacted to it because Shantiniketan has been registered as a World Heritage Site, ladies and gentlemen. Our own Shantiniketan, part of so many movies, part of so many folk tales, part of so many setups, novels, pop culture. Shantiniketan, now part of the global heritage site. In terms of Gyanvapi case, that is again something that we're going to focus on, because again today, hearing on pleas over ownership of the complex of the and the archaeological survey of India's, the Allahabad High Court essentially is going to weigh in on the Gyanvapi case. And of course, we'll talk about the 61.8 crore rupees Amrita Shergil oil painting on canvas that has been auctioned. Amazing stuff. Mohammad Siraj, he yesterday basically took the fun out of the match. People had, made bowls of popcorns. There was a lot of, alcoholic beverages that people had, put in the chiller to enjoy the match. But the final was a damn squid because Mohammad Siraj, I mean, he took 6 wickets in quick succession. The match is pretty much
50,
up. Yep, the match is pretty much over. All right, but first and foremost, let's quickly shift our focus to Manipur. In Manipur, ladies and gentlemen, a soldier who was on leave was abducted, was killed. The body was found later. This is in Imphal East. Now, the only eyewitness in this case, Nancy, is the 10-year-old son of this army jawan.
Yeah.
I mean, you have an army jawan who's on leave and gets kidnapped. Take a look at this. Sepoy Sarto Thagthang, on leave for 4 days, was with his 10-year-old son outside their home at Tarung in the Happy Valley neighborhood of Imphal West when 3 armed men whisked him away at gunpoint inside a white vehicle. The soldier's family and the Com Union appealed through a local TV channel on Saturday for his release. His body was found around 9:30 a.m. on Sunday at the Shantiniketan village in Imphal East.
Yeah, and the sad part about is that, as you correctly mentioned now, that the only eyewitness of this whole abduction was his 10-year-old kid. See, and he belonged to Combs tribe. Like, it's not he didn't belong from the one of the conflicted tribes that we're talking about, the Methi and Koki. And this is written here that Combs' 10-year-old son was reportedly the only eyewitness to the abduction and told police that 3 miscreants had entered their home while they were working on the porch. According to the boy's statement, his father was forced into a white-colored vehicle at gunpoint and driven away. Imagine seeing your father being taken away by 3 men at gunpoint and being taken away in a vehicle, and then you later found out that he's no more. I mean, the situation that Manipur is getting out of hand right now because police officers, security forces,
people on the social media, they're saying that is Manipur purging into complete anarchy.
Yeah, because if you think about it, if incidents like this are happening and people are being so, we have turned our heads against them because now we like it's becoming the new normal in Manipur, and that is actually not acceptable because it is 2023, we are in a democracy, and still incidents like this are happening where a police officer, where an army professional, people.
It's an army jawan. I mean, it's absolutely appalling that you're not even leaving out an army jawan. On the top of that, something that you pointed out, that it's the Com Union. It has come out and said that we are a neutral community in the Manipur strife.
Yeah.
This is a related report. Take a look at this, ladies and gentlemen. The soldier's family and the Com Union appealed through a local TV channel on Saturday afternoon for his release. His body was found around 9:30 a.m. on Sunday at Shantiniketan village, east of Mongjam, under Sogalmang police station in Imphal East. A defense spokesperson has confirmed the same. Now, Thangthang was to report at the military station in Manipur on Monday. The slain soldier is survived by his wife, a daughter and a son. The Com Union president, Sarto Chungjaho Kom, told the Times of India, from where I'm reading this, "We are clueless, totally in the dark about who could be behind this killing. We are a neutral community in this conflict." He said the soldier's family hadn't claimed his body yet. "We were waiting for a meeting with the authorities, either the governor or the chief minister, to discuss what we will do next. Only after that we will take possession of the body." So the body has not been taken possession of yet. Do you know what this means, Nancy? This could potentially make the Com tribe, the Com community now enter the fray in this strife, because you already have the Methi and the Kukis, the 2 main dissenting sides. You have the Naga community that has been affected by the riffles of this strife, and now it seems like the Com community is also dealing with the embers of this strife.
I mean, that is what we are talking about, that once the situation goes out of control, more and more communities are going to get involved in this. Now we are talking about Manipur, and the hill tribes that are in the northeast can also get involved in this, because this type of thing where the government is doing nothing. We are talking about an army personnel who was abducted from his home while he was not on duty. He was on leave. He was, working, enjoying his leave on in his house, and then three miscreants, they come and they just. This is absolutely. I mean, this is absolutely disheartening. That when you see stories like that, and this is the new normal now. And what we are talking about. This is an army personnel that we are talking about, who's just abducted, and his 10-year-old son is giving statement to the police officer.
And what's more, Nancy, sorry to cut you short, take a look at this. If situation wasn't already problematic, the center plans to recall RAF from Manipur.
Yeah.
I mean, the union government is considering a phased withdrawal of the Rapid Action Force, a specialized anti-riot central armed police force from violence-hit Manipur. I mean, people who are watching this stream, please get out in the comment sections and help us understand what, the public opinion right now is. Should the RAF be withdrawn from Manipur? I mean, at a time when you should be talking about deploying a little more boots on the ground, because clearly the amount of boots cannot handle the situation at the moment. You're talking about removing the RAF. It says a senior government official told the Hindu from the daily that I'm reading this from. It says that continuous exposure to the anti-insurgency theatre may not be suitable for a force trained for crowd control and law and order duties, including agitation and communal incidents. Basically, there seems to be realization at the hand of the government that maybe the RAF is not
force
suited for what's happening in Manipur right now.
Yeah.
I mean, crowd control to wahan par chahiye hi nahi. Wahan par to you need to take more stern and stricter steps.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the step that, the reason that the government is giving right now to withdraw the RAF is absolutely, logical right now. But my question is, why is the government waking up so late now? I mean, we have already seen the damage that has been happening in the state, in the violence that we are seeing right now has gone out of hand. And now the government has, waken up finally, and they're saying, oh, we have deployed, this crowd control forces that we are now going to withdraw. So what is the next step now? Are you going to deploy more forces? Who are going to be the task forces that are going to go and control? Because of this, I think because of this misorganization, there has been a strife between the civilians
and
the...
Nancy, this is a unique situation. I mean, it's not like we have a playbook, it's not like we have a template.
Yeah.
कि ऐसी situation में ऐसे steps लेने चाहिए. Of course, we will be better prepared for the future, but I do agree that the bottom line is that peace and tranquility should prevail on the ground. Earlier we were reading how the church community and the clergy was being urged to come in and take more active roles to restore peace on the ground. We earlier saw how the students came out in good numbers, going to civil society organizations from both sides, going to the Kokomi, the Kuki in Manipur, from Kuki's community, from the Methi community, saying that what are we going to do next? We can't live in this limbo for days on end. I've already given that example of how the Russia-Ukraine war, nobody thought it's going to go into 500, 600 odd days, and look at what we're sitting at, almost 2 years of the Russia-Ukraine war. If this strife doesn't end anytime soon, and how do you clamp down on it? I mean, there is no one right answer. We've tried doing it. We've tried, having our informal conversations inside the newsroom. You always know it ends up in a heated discussion and an argument. Again, coming back to how the centre is planning to recall the RAF, which if it wants to safeguard the RAF personnel, then you never know what's going to happen. But if this is the realization that maybe the RAF is not trained to handle what's happening in Manipur right now, maybe that is a good realization. Why would you want to send your own soldiers who are not equipped or trained for what's happening in Manipur down death's way? It says here, at present 10 companies of the RAF are deployed in Manipur, 8 in the valley districts and 2 in the hills. An internal report sent by the RAF on 6th of July highlights the crisis. The report, accessed by the Hindu, says the RAF unit was attacked with glass ball stones, sharp iron rods and petrol bombs when it tried to stop a mob of nearing weapons from a police armory in Thobal district on the 4th of July. Now the report flags the injudicious use, beg your pardon, and inappropriate deployment of the RAF in high-risk areas. This is coming from the report in itself. Meanwhile, the jawan, the picture of whom you can see on your screens, abducted, killed in front of his 10-year-old. But there's another angle here, Nancy. 5 people have been arrested for storming a police station.
Yeah, that is what I was reading here, that after cops arrest 5 wearing camouflage and carrying weapons, mob attacks police station. So that is what Kabir, you were right, that you were saying that this is a unique situation, but the question, that the role of the government right now is to act promptly, and I've been saying this for the longest time, that the solution that I think can work, or that might work in the Manipur situation, is to control these this illegal supply of arms and ammunition that has been going on in Manipur. Because people, it's so easy to dress up like a a security force, dress up like somebody who is deployed in a security force, and then just take arms and ammunitions and fire guns at civilians, fire guns at security professions. I mean, this is not how it's going to get in control. The situation right now is going out of hand because there is so many, the supply of illegal arms and ammunition in Manipur is just beyond imagination. I think the moment you start controlling it, the moment people, the moment the violence can come in control, I mean, that is something that government needs to, look at, because the situations that with the incidents now we're talking about is definitely 5 people wearing camouflage and carrying sophisticated weapons were arrested by the Manipur police on Saturday, which led to a mob trying to storm a police station in Imphal, demanding their release. So, people are confused right now.
Now the police is being, held at ransom.
Yeah.
The police, you're going up to the police and you can't even arrest people, precisely. Yeah. Law and order situation, how do you control the law and order? How do you bring the law and order situation back under control?
I mean, there's definitely
when people are storming police stations.
Yeah, the trust deficit is growing every day because civilians are not, they don't think that, police is there to protect them, the security personnel that have been deployed, the CRPF, any security task that we talk about, the trust deficit is growing, more and more in the Manipur city, and I think the state is witnessing so much of hatred, so much of violence right now, and the way government is still trying to figure out that what is the solution, how are we going to control it, is something beyond me. That if this continues for, I don't think so, like 2 months or 3 months more, I don't know, people will, it will be difficult.
Right.
It will get
people are already questioning if we have already hit the point of no return.
Yeah.
Because reconciliation is something people don't even have time to think about right now. People are currently thinking about how to bring law and order under control. That is agenda number 1 for everybody, and it seems like it is the most difficult task at the moment right now as well, even as we're learning that an army jawan has been abducted in front of his 10-year-old son, murdered, his body found later. The RAF, the Rapid Action Force, something that is a specialized force that controls rioting and mobbing, that is going to be in a phased out manner going to be withdrawn from Manipur. They have flagged in their report that this is not what we are trained for, basically. What is happening over there, these glass balls that they're being hit with, the iron rod that they're being hit with, they're not ready for it. The petrol bombs, they're not ready for it.
Definitely.
You arrest somebody and the armory is stormed, you arrest somebody and the police station is stormed. People are losing their trust in the local administration.
I mean, there have been calls for, I don't know how many times there have been protests that, CM Biren Singh should resign, and, security forces. There have been so many instances where we have seen civilians trying to stop army professionals entering the state. They have been in constant conflict with the security forces because they don't trust them anymore. They're like, it's been such a long time that, Manipur has been burning in the fire of this communal violence, in this ethnic violence. And then we have the UN coming in, then we have other issues as well, then we have Editors Guild as well, then we have so many going on, because the misinformation that circulates when something like this happens is something so this is a situation that can go out of, it is already out of hand. The government is trying to control it, but the way we are seeing the incidents happening, that the army profession, the one army guy who was on leave was abducted from his house, and a 10-year-old son is giving the statement. He was the only eyewitness that my father was taken away by 3 miscreants and he was held at gunpoint, and later you found out that he's dead. So I mean, this kind of situation,
with a bullet wound to the army soldier's head. I mean, and this is after the family went on to the local television and appealed for his release. And the Com Union chief comes out and says that we're a neutral community in this ethnic strife. Why has this jawan been targeted? Well, nobody has any idea at the moment.
I mean, now nobody's thinking. Now it's like we have a gun and we are going to shoot anybody in sight.
What they've left the family with is, you know, the army jawan is survived by the wife, the daughter, and the son. And the son definitely left with a lot of trauma over there.
Yeah, true. Definitely.
But the question that everybody was asking when you know, we learnt about this story yesterday, and it blew up on social media, was that is Manipur really purging into complete anarchy? We have guerrilla warfare, you've got a porous border, there's narco terror, law and order situation out of hands, the government now repealing the rapid action force, a jawan is being killed, police stations are being stormed, armory is being looted, and that's not even the thick of it. So is it purging into complete anarchy? Well, you decide for yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's shift our focus. Lots of stuff for us to discuss and bring to you. Like I said, it's your one-stop shop to stay and catch the news pulse of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move on. Let's talk about the special parliamentary session that is going to begin from today. Which is the 18th till the 22nd, 5 days of a special parliamentary session. A couple of you know, important points, and I'll just lay them bare for everybody's perusal. There are 8 bills that are slated to be you know, to be spoken about. Of course, that is something that we're going to take a look at. But Nancy, what else are we going to focus on?
I
because
mean,
the Prime Minister, you know, he hoisted the flag yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, you know, last night I saw the show yesterday, and you know, it's so grand that, you know, we are celebrating a Prime Minister's birthday like that, and the schemes that, you know, the Vishwakarma scheme or the Namo scheme, and the way he's trying to, you know, focus on women empowerment is something that was very interesting to see, because I've seen BJP's you know, political career. They have been, you know, they don't talk about social issues in that sense, you know, the empowerment. They have always been centered around, you know, community and religion. So it was interesting to see, you know, coming out, and you know, this new parliament session that we are talking about, this special parliamentary, and you know, it's so interesting that they are going to it's going to be a visual aid, because they are going to start with the old parliament building, and then they are going to get us into the new parliament building on the second day.
Auspicious occasion of Ganesh Chaturthi, which is the 19th, tomorrow.
Yeah, and that is so, that, you know, that's going to be so empowering to see visually the transformation from the old parliament building to the new parliament building.
There's going to be a photo op tomorrow, where the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha members are going to, you know, get together. The Prime Minister is going to attend both those photos. Then there's going to be a small little break, after which, you know, it's all going to go into the new Parliament building. But they're also going to talk about the 75 years of the Parliament's legacy, the history, the achievements, the learnings, the journey of these last 75 years. That is something that is going to talk about. But I'll tell you what, the opposition is still criticizing why you're not telling us what is the main agenda.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now, the couple of bills that are you know, slated to take place, and I'm going to request the control room to, you know, put that information out there for everybody's perusal. There is an agenda in terms of discussing the journey, the history. Then there are bills.
8 bills.
There are bills that are slated to, you know, be spoken about. उनमें से 3-4 काफी important है. Chief Election Commissioner's Appointment Bill 2023. You know, earlier, the appointment of the Chief Election Commissioner and the Chief, you know, and other election commissioners, it was supposed to be done by the Prime Minister, by the leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha, and the CJI. Now the CJI has been removed from that. I mean, that's what's going to happen once this bill right now, ladies and gents, is up for discussion, going to be taken up for discussion in the Rajya Sabha. Apart from that, there are several other bills. The Post Office Bill, you have the Advocates Amendment Bill 2023. Out of these 8 proposed bills, potentially slated bills. Two have already been passed by the Rajya Sabha, only waiting for discussion in the Lok Sabha. Baki sabko, बातचीत और चर्चा करनी पड़ेगी. But it's going to happen on the last 3 days. पहले 2 दिन किसी भी बिल पे बात नहीं होगी.
Yeah, but Kabir, the interesting thing about this whole discussion is that Centre first came out and they said that we are going to talk about this, Chief Election Commissioner selection bill. Now they have come up with a new list of 8 bills in which you cannot see this Chief Election, selection of commissioners bill. They are not going to, that is not included in the list because I think I think Jairam Ramesh gave them a spoiler and he said that we are going to oppose the CEC bill. So now the Centre has come up with a new list. I have the list right here. They are saying that the Repealing and Amending Bill 2022, the Post Office Bill 2023, the Press and Registration of Periodical Bills 2023, the Advocates Amendment Bill 2023, Senior Citizens Welfare Bill 2023, the Constitution of SC and ST Order 2023, the Constitution Bill again, it's been in 3 parts. So there are 3 sets of the Constitution Order that is going to be 3 bills. So there are total 8 bills.
Even in that list, Nancy, I mean the Constitution Order.
Yeah.
I mean you don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Constitution Order.
The
Could
Constitution
be anything.
Order.
I mean it's not clear.
It's not clear, and that is what the Congress and the opposition has been asking continuously, that what is the agenda, how are we going to prepare for this special parliamentary session. One bill that we were prepared to oppose, you have removed it from the list. So now the opposition is, the way BJP is playing with the opposition.
People were also talking about, one nation, one election.
Yeah.
That was the buzz. That has not been included.
That is not in the agenda. So the opposition was like, we have 3-4 points.
There was a lot of speculation about the India name being changed to Bharat permanently, officially. All of that, after those dinner invitations went out, people started discussing that. Okay, maybe this is something that they're going to talk about in the parliament. But then that also hasn't come up yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's so, I think I can feel the frustration of the opposition right now, that we have listed out 3 things that I think are going wrong with the Centre, the name bill, the name resolution, that how can you change the name of the country like that. Then we have that CEC bill, which was also going to get opposed by the opposition, and Jairam Ramesh tweeted out in like, okay, we don't have the agenda, we are going to oppose on the CEC bill. Now the Centre has come up with a new list. We have removed the CEC bill. So now what you are going to oppose at? Now what you are going? So I think the Centre is trying so hard that we are not going to give you any kind of point to discussion. There is not going to be any kind of opposition. How are you going to? This is going to be a very chill session where we are going to talk about the journey of the parliament.
Session.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a chill session, Nancy. Let me tell you.
That is what the Centre is trying to do, Kabir. I mean, the opposition should not go and give that satisfaction of, I don't want a chill session of a special parliamentary session.
But it does look, in the new parliament building does look beautiful. I mean, I'm sure that the optics, the political optics are going to be. By the way, they're also going to be getting together, and there's a proper, a ceremony to commemorate the journey. And whilst the journey is being commemorated, there is going to be a resolve that's going to be taken up. A resolve that is going to be taken up to make sure together to ensure the development of Bharat by 2047. And everybody is going to get together and make that vow.
Yeah.
Several opposition leaders are also going to be there.
Yeah, I mean the way they are going to celebrate, this whole journey of parliament, this old to new building. We have the flag hosting that was done yesterday, and now we have they're going to be a proper photo session of all the leaders in the parliament. First we are going to start with the old parliament building, then we are going to move to the new parliament building, and then we can see the transition from old parliament building to new parliament building. I mean, this is something, this is such a celebration of this new parliament building and the democracy, while the opposition is at Centre that what is the secrecy about. We get it, the new parliament building is beautiful, but what are we going to discuss in the new parliament? I mean, are we going to just sit and admire the beauty of the building, or we are going to talk about something important, some issues? What are the issues going to be? The secrecy is so much, and I think I can feel the frustration of opposition. Like we don't have any clarity. You have listed out the bills, but what are the bills about? How are we going to talk about the bills? What is the agenda? I mean, the discussion, how should we prepare for it? And I think that is something, it's going to be very interesting.
It says here that many parties demand that the women's reservation bill be cleared first.
Yeah.
only 3 days will be reserved for the government business about which there is still no clarity. Many parties, even ruling National Democratic Alliance members such as the Ajit Pawar-led Nationalist Congress Party and the National People's Party demanded that the women's reservation bill be cleared. It's a shame that women, who make up 50% of the population, have such little political representation, said Pinaki Mishra of the Biju Janata Dal. The government faced a volley of questions about why it is maintaining secrecy about the agenda.
I mean, definitely, I can understand why they are asking, because there is no specific, like the way Centre has been coming out and saying that this is the agenda, but there is no clarity. I mean, Congress leader Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary has demanded discussion on issues outlined in the letter that Congress filed. So the letter that Sonia Gandhi wrote.
Right.
So they're talking about
some,
that. Let's
20
talk
points
about,
on that
yeah,
letter.
what is the, you know, I think Manipur is also one of the issues, and you know, the Bharat resolution, everything. They're like, if you don't have clarity, we have a list of issues that we would like to talk about, and I think I think that is a clever move, that let's talk about the issues that we have some issues with the centre, we have some issues with the government, and he said that the only government knows what its intention is. It may surprise everyone with some new agenda. So there has also been this, you know, that there is going to be some secret legislative grenade that they are going to throw us in the assembly, so that we are not prepared. So the opposition is also very, you know, scared that they are not giving us any kind of clarity right now. But you know, there is a chance that this is Modi government that we are talking about, you know, Modi ka magic that we have been talking about, that he can do anything. At the last moment, he can come up with an agenda, he can come up with any issue, and the opposition will be left unprepared, like, okay, this is the issue that we are going to talk about. But I think opposition is very clear in demanding that let's talk about the issues that we listed out before. So we want answers. The answers is still not clear. So let's have a discussion. Let's have a rich discussion, like, you know, like a proper democracy. Let's go ahead in the new parliament building and let's just talk about, let's have some clarity over the issues.
But I mean, good things to come, or like what?
I think, you know, see, this is not going to go like this, that, you know, they sit in the new parliament building and they're going to talk about,
I mean,
okay,
of course,
the journey.
you'd like for the opposition and the ruling dispensation to argue it out, to really, you know, talk about things. First time ever, there is going to be no question hours. That is something that is being criticized by the opposition. Of course, opposition, when I say the first criticism, it seems, comes from Jairam Ramesh and K.C. Venugopal. They're the prime voices of the opposition bloc. Of oppositional dissent. But it says, Congress is ready to fight, Kharge tells party leaders. Congress chief says that removing BJP from the centre will be a fitting tribute to Mahatma Gandhi. Party leaders from Punjab and Delhi raised concerns about alliance with Aam Aadmi Party for the elections. Congress has to deal with its own cracks here and there. But let's not forget, today at 10:15, there's going to be a proper media note by the Prime Minister, after which what we're also learning is that Piyush Goyal may speak in the Rajya Sabha and the Prime Minister may open, you know, the special session in the Lok Sabha at 11 a.m. All eyes slated towards the Parliament. 11 a.m. It's the special Parliament session. Lots going to happen over the last 3 days, which is the 19th, which is the 20th, 21st and the 22nd. But 18th and 19th is essentially just events and commemorations and various other occasions. But of course, historic occasions. People will read about these in their history books in the days and time to come. All right, let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. There's going to be a big push for women's quota at the all-party meet as well, like I mentioned before. And the women's reservation bill that many parties are saying, including the Biju Janata Dal and several other NDA alliance members as well, including Ajit Pawar-led Nationalist Congress Party, saying that when 50% of the population is women, why not pass the women's reservation bill? Uski bhi baat kar lo. So, still a lot of secrecy around what bills might be taken up, but then again, ladies and gentlemen, that's the catch. That's going to be the intrigue with which we're going to follow the next couple of days from the Parliament. All right, moving on, let's talk about the day 5 of the anti-terror operation that continues to go on in Anantnag, ladies and gentlemen. Nancy, what is the latest that we're picking up? Now we're learning that you know, drones and various other modern age technology is being included over there
being
as
deployed.
well.
Yeah, I mean, the security professionals, they are deploying more forces. More forces have been deployed in the south of Kashmir, where the Anantnag district that we are talking about. Because I think, the problem, there was some information that, there was this misinformation. The informant was the one who gave the wrong information to the army profession, and that is why, the encounter, didn't go.
Yeah, the information was compromised. That's what everybody was talking about.
Yeah, the information was compromised, and I think because of that, the situation went out of hand, and the operation because same encounter happened in Rajouri as well in the same day, and their army, they went out and they they killed 2 terrorists. But now that we're talking about whatever happened in Anantnag after losing 3 brave hearts to the encounter now. I think it's important that we get to the root of this, because there are still terror activities going on, and it's at Spurge that terrorists, the firing has been going on. This is day 5 that we're talking about, day 5 of the operation, and drones have been getting deployed, more security forces are being deployed into that area, because it's important to control the situation, because it's day 5, and south of Kashmir, the Pir Panjal area that we are talking about, it's one of the concerning areas in Kashmir, because 75 civilians have been killed in the past month from both the sides. Whether you talk about the POK or you talk about India's side, both the sides, civilians, we are talking about civilians right now, and terror activities has been going, surging upwards every day, because before that recruitment has gone down to a good level. So we thought that terror activity is also going to get down, but surprisingly, even though recruitment is not there, the terrorists are coming more trained with more strategic. They are so strategized, they are so well trained right now, that it's getting concerned that where are these people getting training from, and how are we going to control this if this goes out of hand again. But I think the Indian Army is well prepared to tackle these terrorists and tackle the situation as soon as they can, because Anantnag, after we lost 3 brave hearts, Manpreet Singh, Major Ashish and Humayun, but I think after their death, I think the country wants the answer. The country wants, we need to even out the score right now, because this is not how we are going to take, because we had 2 LET Lashkar terrorists encircled before, and I think Indian Army is just going to go at it, and they are going to demand answers from the terrorists.
Haryana Chief Minister, visiting the family and the loved ones of one of our, fallen soldiers, one of our brave hearts. And just like this one, lots of other politicians made their way. You saw Farooq Abdullah and various other Jammu and Kashmir leaders going to Humayun Bhatt's house. You saw various other leaders, from Punjab going there. Over there, Mano Lal Khattar, of course, getting all teary-eyed. And why not? I mean, the entire nation has been mourning the death of the brave hearts. So many other soldiers that have been, injured in this particular operation. And we've been discussing why it's difficult to carry out, operations south of the Pir Panjal. Take a look at that. This is your war zone. This is your battle zone.
Yeah.
Imagine fighting in these kind of conditions, in this sort of a topography, in this sort of a geography. Your drones cease to, work. All your skill, a lot of it goes out of the window, because it's not a flat terrain anymore.
Yeah.
Taking aim, there's a lot of trees, there's less, visibility. All of that comes into, account, Nancy.
Yeah, I was, watching some of the ground reports from our network, and you can see that, they are standing at such a distance, but you can hear the voices of, gunshots being fired, grenades, and explosive. You can hear the sound of that. So it's not like, the situation is under control there. There is continuous fighting going on. There is continuous efforts from the army professions, and, there is a tough fight, that we are giving to the terrorists, and because we are now, this is something that it's a national issue now, because everybody is talking about, everybody is in anger, so much anger, and everybody is mourning the death of the 3 brave hearts, and we need answers. This has to stop, because south of Kashmir has been in, one of the raising concerns for such a long time. Pir Panjal that we are talking about, the area. I think right now that, now it's in the headlines, now it's everywhere. Now everybody's talking about, politicians are visiting, everybody's, just looking at the Anantnag operation every day. We are monitoring it so that, we can get to the root cause of it. And I'm just waiting for the day when, it gets over and army professions will be like that, we have captured the terrorists who caused the whole, mishap in the area. Because it's important that, we finally address the issue, we finally address the security concerns in Jammu and Kashmir, because this cannot go for so long. And, Pakistan, we have to hold Pakistan accountable for it, stop funding these terrorists. It's been such a long time that, the borders that we talk about, the funding that Pakistan has been giving to terrorism, it's one of the global issues and national issues that we need to address as soon as possible, so that, we don't lose brave hearts like this, and, the situation like this doesn't happen anymore. Anantnag district encounter, it's been day 5. For 5 days, the army has been deployed, and for 5 days, you can imagine what the civilians have been also going through, and what, the army has been going through. Continuous firing, continuous, more weapons will go on, deploying more security forces, more weapons, more drones.
Right.
This is not a very ideal situation for any country.
But it needs to happen. It continuously needs to happen. This is something that we have to live with.
Yeah.
This is something that we have to continuously do. This is something that the entire nation should get behind the army. For we must weed out terrorism at all cost. Nancy, there is no other way of dealing with this but to go head on. And sometimes we'll have to re-strategize. Sometimes we'll have to think outside the box. But sooner or later, the security forces will persist, ladies and gentlemen. Like I've been saying, the deaths of the brave hearts will not go in vain, certainly. But even as in one place, and even as we move on to the other segment, from one hand, where this anti-terror, counter-terror operation is taking place, on the other hand, you've got in various other places, you've got rain and floods. Floods and rain, and you talk about Madhya Pradesh, you talk about Maharashtra, you talk about Gujarat right now. It is completely, life in these states is completely out of gear at the moment, only because of rain and the floods.
Flood situation. I have spent a lot of my
look at that.
Yeah, see.
This is in Gujarat. Rescue operations are underway. At least 8 people were swept away in Madhya Pradesh as a pond embankment caved in, and 2 bodies were recovered later. Libya is such a good example in front of all of us, that the minute an embankment collapses, it means destruction. And take a look at this. This is Dahod in Gujarat. Rescue operations are underway. Cars are going for a swim, and the same is the scenario for Madhya Pradesh, and the same is the scenario for Maharashtra as well.
I have spent a lot of my time in Gujarat, and when we talk about coastal states like Gujarat and Maharashtra, situation can go out of hand in just you can see rain happening, like it's been raining for 2 days, and the third day some dam can get broken, then the river can get there is some influx in the flow of the river, and suddenly there is a flood like situation, and you don't even have time to prepare for situations like this, because we were covering Libya right now. I know the destruction is not that, the mass destruction is not there, but you can see a JCB tractor, it's so scary.
An earth mover is so helpless in that situation. What is a car going to do? What is a rescue boat going to do to a earth mover? You used to talk about cheeti hathi ko support karte hue, and all the other limericks and jokes that happened. It looks like a situation similar, and these are visuals coming across from Maharashtra, where again rains in Maharashtra. Maharashtra deals with rains a little bit better because of course it knows it's not unfamiliar.
You can see the force of the river here, Kabir. The destruction that this can cause, and this have been causing in the states of Maharashtra, Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh that we're talking about. people don't have time to prepare for a situation like this, and destruction can go
This is
from
a dam. This is the
two
dam that's been
casualties.
opened up because the water management has to be carried out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, places and large areas will get inundated completely.
Yeah, I mean, dams we are talking about that. See, the politics with the dams is so, because people say that dams are also, one of the man-made, calamities that we talk about, because once you have to stop the river and then you have to open the dam as well. So, to manage this, somebody needs to monitor the situation, and sometimes it can go out of hand. I've seen cases in Gujarat especially, where dams have been constructed. We have,
Look at this, Nancy. Sorry to cut you short. This is in Ujjain in Madhya Pradesh. So you've seen what's happened in Gujarat. Complete life out of gear. And this is in Ujjain. I mean, this is a colony in Ujjain in Madhya Pradesh. You saw what's happening in Maharashtra. You saw what's happened in Madhya Pradesh. At least 8 people have been swept away in Madhya Pradesh. Bodies are being found later on.
And you can see how, the rescue boat is also just there, because the destruction is so heavy, and destruction, the way people are not able to comprehend the situation.
Iconic temple.
Yeah.
Iconic temples that are now completely submerged.
Yeah, and how are you going to, because this is such a, how are we going to comprehend something like this? How are you going to send rescue teams? Because the destruction has already 8 people have been swept away right
more
now.
More importantly, Nancy, not all of this water will get evaporated. Where will all of this water go? In Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand, already people are estimating damages worth on the up note of tens of thousands of crores. About loss of property, about loss of livelihood. There's a lot of cattle, there's a lot of dogs, there's a lot of stray animals that take a huge beating in these kind of situations.
And I mean, you can see when we talk about Ujjain, when we talk about
this is Chhattisgarh
as well. Climate change is one of the concerns right now. But then you see visuals like this, like how are people going to, carry out their normal life just like that? Because you can see that people are submerged from, their one half of your body is under the water, and this is your home that you're talking about. You can see in Ujjain, we saw that people, in house, there was so many, the water, the way, it comes in, in the colony, you can see people are just, so helpless that what are we going to do? And this is, see, I get it.
What do you do if something like this happens to your house? What do you do?
I mean, it depends on the drainage system.
You've
that
got so
is
much of electrical appliances at home,
definitely,
which goes bad. You've got so much of ration at home that can go bad. There is so much of there is lots and lots of damage. I mean, financial damage and economical damage is paramount.
And I mean, who is going to refund you on that? Who is going to compensate for the loss is also a question, because this is what is happening. I get it, the rain, heavy rain and flooding, it's it's a natural cause, but you also have to hold a government accountable, because the lack of drainage system, especially in the coastal state, is something very triggering. See, how can you see your car being flown away? It's floating in the river like that. I mean, the water pressure that we're talking about is so scary that anything can happen. Suddenly a wave will come into your house and everything is flooded and everything is ruined. How is it going to get?
It's not akin to that of a tsunami, to what was seen in Derna in Libya, but this is again very scary. And again the question of the poor, the people who lived in shanties, the people who lived in kacha homes, the troubles and their perils. That is something that the government will have to now come out and help with, because they're the ones who are going to be looking out for food, they're the ones who are going to be looking out for shelter, they're the ones who are going to be the most affected. It's the poor that is the most affected in these situations.
Yeah, we saw radies and everything getting destroyed like that, because that is somebody's shop, and in just a matter of time, you cannot see it anywhere. So how are they going to get back to normalcy? Something, because see, when you were talking about us, what happens, because I think we can manage, we can still survive, but when it comes to poor people, I mean, that is the only, they have spent all of their life savings into buying that one radii, and now it's also, gone away. I mean, how are they going to compensate for it? How are they going to, return back to normalcy? Something that is, and situation like this happens every year. I mean, we have to sit down and, create a proper drainage system, create a proper rain harvesting system in states like Gujarat, Maharashtra especially, and especially Gujarat, because it's a coastal state. And every time we see Bhuj, especially that we're talking about, I think these visuals are also from Bhuj in Gujarat, because these, these situations in Bhuj is a flood-prone, city.
Area, yeah. Not the first time that something like this
is happening.
But red alert in 5 Gujarat districts, and more rains likely in Rajasthan as well. Even as 8 people got swept away in Madhya Pradesh. Yeah. Situation not looking bright in Chhattisgarh or in Maharashtra. But we'll have to move on, ladies and gentlemen. There's some other stories for us to cover as well, and some good news, because Shantiniketan, something that was, founded in 1901 by the iconic poet and philosopher Rabindranath Tagore, has earned a coveted spot on the UNESCO World Heritage Site, ladies and gentlemen. There was a lot of celebration that was happening in West Bengal. I don't know if we have the reaction of the Chief Minister of West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee. I'm going to quickly confirm on that. But Shantiniketan, take a look at that. Visuals from Shantiniketan, ladies and gentlemen. Founded in 1901, has earned a coveted spot on the UNESCO World Heritage Site, is what we're picking up. And Nancy, what a great
it's
thing for all Indians.
Yeah, in India, I was reading about in India, has been trying for a very long time to get Shantiniketan into the list of UNESCO's World Heritage list. And we have a report here that Rabindranath Tagore's Shantiniketan, the university town in West Bengal's Birbhum district, has been inscribed on the UNESCO's World Heritage list. This was announced by the international agency on Sunday in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, where the 45th session of the World Heritage Committee is being held till September 25. Shantiniketan becomes the 41st UNESCO World Heritage Site in India and the 3rd in West Bengal, after the Sundarbans National Park and the Darjeeling Mountain Railway. So we already have 2 sites from the West Bengal who are already in the list. And last year the state's Durga Puja got space in intangible cultural heritage and humanity under UNESCO. So, India is on the path of development, whether
Center
it's
of art on ancient Indian traditions, and a vision of unity of humanity transcending religious and cultural boundaries, something that was envisaged by Rabindranath Tagore in 1901. A world university that was established at Shantiniketan in 1921, recognizing the unity of humanity, or Visva Bharati. The UNESCO World Heritage Convention page has quoted these same exact words, Nancy, what I've just read out. Distinct from the prevailing British colonial architectural orientations of the early 20th century and of European modernism, Shantiniketan represents approaches towards a pan-Asian modernity, drawing on ancient, medieval and folk traditions from across the region. Visuals of celebration from West Bengal, and like you pointed out, the 3rd UNESCO World Heritage Site from West Bengal. After the hills in Darjeeling and the Sundarbans
National Park. I mean, West Bengal has already been known for its art and culture, and now the whole world knows it, because it has been, included, and the Prime Minister has come out and congratulated that, delighted that Shantiniketan, an embodiment of Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore's vision and India's rich cultural heritage, has been inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage list. This is a proud moment for all the Indians. And Mamata Banerjee also reacted, and she also congratulated and said,
I'm reading the X. It says, glad and proud that at Shantiniketan, the town of Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore is now finally included in UNESCO's World Heritage Site. Biswa Bangla's pride, Shantiniketan was nurtured by the poet and has been supported by the people of West Bengal over the generations. So, ladies and gentlemen, again a red letter day for India, especially for West Bengal and for ancient Indian traditions, ideas, ideologies, and the confluence of culture and education. Shantiniketan, that has been added, inscribed in the coveted UNESCO World Heritage sites. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the Gyanvapi case now. Again, Nancy, it's interesting to look at the Gyanvapi case, because for ages it seems like this case has been going on. Their archaeological survey did finally happen, but now the Allahabad High Court is now going to give its ruling on in essence, the police over the ownership
of the
of the entire complex,
Yeah.
Gyanvapi complex, and the ASI survey in Allahabad High Court that is going to come up today.
I mean, the ASI survey has been going, it started, and the agenda behind the ASI survey was to find out that whether this mosque was built over a Hindu temple. And ASI have been founding, a lot of Hindu sculptures, a lot of ancient Hindu deities, statues of deities that have been also, revealed by the ASI survey. But, the Muslim side of the whole petition, they have been arguing about the ASI survey that they are not following the proper technique. They are, destroying the masjid. They are, they are not allowed to move the debris, but they are doing it, and that is why, because of the intensive search that the ASI have been doing, you are going to ruin the property. So I think there have been a lot of questions raised on the ASI survey, that how is it, they are not following the G technique that they were supposed to follow, and all of this. And amid this comes, the ownership of the complex, who owns the complex, and that is the fight. The fight has,
for me, the biggest question is still going to be the same. What are we trying to derive out of it, essentially? That is my question, basically.
I mean, definitely, this Gyanvapi case, I mean, I think it has been going on before I was, born. And, we saw, the Rath Yatra held by, Lal Krishna Advani, and from that to now, it has been going on for so long. First we had, Babri Masjid's demolition, then we have, then we suddenly were like, this wave of people like saying, we have to demolish it. We are going to make a Ram Mandir, Ayodhya Mandir on it. And then we had, people talking about, this thing that, mosque being built over Hindu temple, and then we are going to demolish it, and then, build again a Hindu temple over it. I mean, I get it, it's, we get the Hindu side, they're trying to, preserve their culture. They're like, they destroyed it, now we want to preserve it. But again, that at what cost? Because I think
that preservation will also lead to somebody else's destruction
again.
So how is that preservation any pious or pure? But again, not going into the religious lines, I'm saying that today we're looking at all these members of parliament that are going to come together to take a resolve to develop Bharat by 2047. I think we need to move past these
cases like this, because we were talking about it on this show before also, and we were talking about the beauty of the visual, the board, that this side it's the the Gyanvapi mosque.
Both directions are towards the mosque and the temple.
I mean,
you're right.
That is the beauty of India.
Of Varanasi as well. That is the history of Varanasi as well.
I mean, that is what we are talking about. That is the secularism that we have been promoting. We have been talking about that India is a secular country, and we have always welcomed every religion, every culture in it. And now that we are we have 3 of our sites in the UNESCO's heritage list, and we are still fighting over it, is something that I don't know will go on for so long. But of course, it's an important hearing. People should get invested into it, that what the Allahabad High Court has to say, because for long as I've seen that the ASI survey, or even the petitions that are being heard are being rejected again and again, against the ASI survey. I think it's high time that now we're talking about the ownership now, who owns the complex. Is it the Hindu Paksh, is it the Muslim Paksh? But in the end, it's like, even if we prove that, it was built over a Hindu temple, are we really going to, destroy the whole mosque, and then going to build over another temple over it? And then someday in future, again, somebody is going to come out and say, no, you destroyed a mosque over here, and then they're going to destroy. So this can continue.
Essentially a never-ending process. But take a look at this. These aerial images, shots from above the terrace, where you can see the tomb, the top part of the Gyanvapi premises. And you can also look at the Kashi Vishwanath corridor. This again is going to be, it's such a beautiful imagery. Something that has been there for ages on end is going to soon cease to exist, is something that hurts me to think about. And that's all, you know what, Nancy, that's all. Anyway, we must move on. There are other stories for us to cover as well. let's also take a look at this important oil painting of Amrita Shergil, you know, on the canvas, which has gone for rupees 61.8 crore for an Amrita Shergil oil on canvas. Just amazing stuff again. I haven't seen that particular painting, but 61.8 crore rupees for an oil painting. I mean, that's amazing.
That's something, you know. I think today, for today's day, India is actually going, you know, really hard on art and culture and heritage. And I was reading in, you know, one of the report here that said the beautiful oil on canvas by the legendary Amrita Shergil, painter who died at the age of 28 in 1941.
Hungarian Indian painter.
Yeah, and she died at the age of 28 in 1941. Sold for rupees 61.8 crore in a saffronate sale on Saturday night, making it the most expensive work of Indian art sold at auctions worldwide. So it's one of the most, you know, expensive art that have been, you know, sold at auctions worldwide.
She was a beautiful looking woman, I'll tell you what.
Yeah. Oh. And you know, it said that in fact this comes barely 10 days after modernist Syed Haider Raza's painting titled Gestation fetched rupees 51.7 crore. So I think we are talking about, you know, this expensive, and I have not always been a fan of, you know, auctions and buying art like that. But if you think about it, you know, 61 crore and 50 crore that we're talking about, I mean, oil paintings, we're talking about oil paintings, and
most expensive work of Indian art sold at auction worldwide.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's a proud moment for India for sure that
Amrita Shergil was 28 when she died in 1941. She was a Sikh Hungarian painter who died at the age of 28. This sale was made at a saffron art sale on Saturday night, sold for 61.8 crore rupees. In fact, this comes barely 10 days after modernist Syed Haider Raza's painting titled Gestation fetched rupees 51.7 crore at Pundole auction house. Raza's Gestation, which features his signature Bindu, now becomes the second most expensive Indian artwork, while abstractionist Vasudeo S. Gaitonde's 2020 price of rupees 32 crore is now at number 3. It's perhaps fitting a Shergil is now at the top of the heap. For a long time, she remained the only successful woman artist in India. Her work, when it did appear at auction, could put most members of the male-dominated progressive group in the shade. In March 2006, Shergil's Village Group, a 1938 painting, a melancholy portrait of a group of women, was sold for rupees 6.9 crore, a record at that particular time in 2006. Born in 1913 in Budapest to a Sikh father and a Hungarian mother, Amrita lived between Europe and India, studied at the elite École des Beaux-Arts, where she became the first Asian to win a gold medal for painting. Even the nudes that she painted in her Paris student days, when she used her sister as a model as well as herself, reflected ease and confidence. She shifted to India when she was 25 and done with Paris. Well, you can be done with Paris as well. Back in 1947, you already had an Indian who was already done with Paris. Europe belongs to Picasso, Matisse, Barque, and many others. India belongs only to me, she declared with characteristic audacity in 1938. In a letter to her parents, dated Budapest 1934, she explains her move to relocate. Our long stay in Europe has aided me to discover India. A fresco from Ajanta or a small piece of sculpture in the Musi Gimet is worth more than the Renaissance.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think her painting, it was a, you know, I think I am very satisfied because she sounds like a woman, you know, the characteristic audacity, I must say, you know, she had when she said, you know, Europe, like the way Europe belongs to Picasso, India belongs to me, and I think
India belongs only to me.
Only to me. I think that is something so, you know, such a beautiful thing to say and to an artist. And the way she, you know, she was never, you know, born and brought up in India. She came to India and she found it so mesmerizing. I think that fresh perspective somebody has and then somebody paints it. I think it reflects in their painting, and I think it was, I think her personality and her painting is definitely worth crores, and I think it's a proud moment for India.
Like it was written in that you know, e-article, that it's only right and justified and fitting that now it's an Amrita Shergil oil on the canvas that's finally on the top of that list of the most expensive Indian art to be sold worldwide ever, 61.8 crore rupees. But that's not all. It's a big day for India, even as we're talking about the new parliament. We're talking about the UNESCO World Heritage Site inscription for Shantiniketan. We're talking about so many other things. Let's also talk about what India did at the Asia Cup yesterday, that damp squib of a finale. But in that final, a lot of records that were broken. And Mohammad Siraj had his own Raj going on, let me tell you that. Because I shut the television as soon as Sri Lanka were 12 for 5.
Yeah.
That's what I can tell you. Siraj's 5-wicket haul in 16 deliveries is the joint quickest ever in ODIs, equaling Chaminda Vas's feat against Bangladesh in 2003. Siraj took 4 wickets in his second over, which is an Indian record. 4 wickets in 1 over. Virat Kohli's, visual over there. They're all coming back, departing, arriving, and between all of that, let me just give you some more statistics. 6 wickets for 21 runs is the second best analysis in Asia Cup history after Ajanta Mendis's 6 wickets for 13 runs. It is the 4th best ODI bowling figures for India after Stuart Binney's 6 for 4, Anil Kumble's 6 for 12 and Jasprit Bumrah's 6 for 19. Fellow pacer Hardik Pandya took 3 wickets for 3 runs, his last 2 wickets coming off the last 2 balls of the Lankan innings. He will be in line for a hat-trick in his next game. Can you imagine? The game is over, but he's still in line for a hat-trick.
I mean, I don't understand.
Did you watch the match though? Did you watch the match?
I tried to, because the moment I, switched it on, the match just started and I was watching some other show as well. So when I was just switching it back and forth, and I think it was just a matter of time that I saw that at 50 the game is over. I mean, I was like, and the social media can be so mean to Sri Lanka, and I could see memes pouring out for Sri Lanka, how they and the way people are just saying, I just saw a meme, no hate to the Indian team, but people are like, the way India performs in the knockout trials usually, I think that is how Sri Lanka performed in the Asia Cup final, because they were they looked so unprepared and they were out in like just 50 overs. I was like, I just started the watch, and the moment I came back, I did come back and forth just 3-4 times, and I saw that India is out. I mean, that was something. And the way Mohammad Siraj, he just went for it. There was no stopping that guy, and I was like, okay, now we are being a little mean to Sri Lanka. I mean, now it's time to go a little easy on them and just let them, okay, fine, I know that we won. But I think it's a good, boost of morale for the Indian cricket team. I think they need this.
Certainly. We've conquered Asia.
And this is the 8th Asia Cup title.
Is next October mein, Nancy, World Cup bhi shuru hone wala hai.
Definitely.
It seems like the team, it's good momentum and morale building for the team.
Definitely.
That we've won and conquered Asia. Albeit, we did lose out to Bangladesh in that particular affair. And Pakistan was an amazing innings. You finally saw Virat Kohli pull in that century.
Yeah.
So many highlights, top takeaways for India. With the World Cup looming, India were faced with a clutch of unresolved issues before the Asia Cup. But the tournament has answered most of them. Batting, all top players, Captain Rohit, Gill, Kohli displayed decent form. Keeper batter KL Rahul, returning from injury, looked fully fit, found his touch, scored that century, let's not forget. Left-hander Ishan Kishan's batting, especially against Pakistan, boosts the team's depth and offers more choices to the think tank. Now in terms of bowling, pacer Jasprit Bumrah is back from injury and nearing peak form. Spinner Kuldeep Yadav's wicket-taking ability has elevated the team's strike potency in the middle overs. And when you're looking at catching, India's catching has been subpar, but every chance was taken in the final, underlining how catches can win matches. In terms of unresolved issues, fitness of Shreyas Iyer, who's reportedly 99% fit, and Akshar Patel, and Jadeja's batting form. These are 3-4 things that India can work on, and then we have a good team to take into the World Cup. Let's not forget. So with Asia conquered, next all the eyes on the World Cup, this 50-over game that turned out to be a 50-run encounter and Mohammad Siraj's Raj for everybody to see. well, it had its own moments. Some people were disappointed that it wasn't a close match. Well, others were just like quite happy to see super bowling performances by Mohammad Siraj.
Yeah, the cynical and the ruthless behavior of the Indian team was something, the aggression that we need in the World Cup. I think the way, you know, I
wouldn't mind a 50 run, match every time. That's something that I can deal with if that means India is going to pick up the World Cup. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have for you in today's edition of today's Page 1. What's more, what's coming up next is, of course, from 11 a.m. onwards, we will bring you a rolling coverage live from the Parliament. What it means, what's going to happen, the history, the journey, the bills. We're going to give you a breakup of everything. After that, at 1 p.m. today, we're going to discuss Manipur. It's important to discuss the Jawan's abduction, the murder and the storming of the police station. That is something that's going to be our focus. Later on in the day, towards the afternoon, top news from south of India, the South Indian with Sudha Sadanand. That's going to be on your screens, and later on at about 8 p.m. all the international news under the global lens. But that's not all. During the course of the day, rolling coverage of news and updates that you missed out on and that you should know as well. Nancy and Kabir signing off. Keep watching News 9 Live.
He thought he could outlast us. And 1 year later, the evidence is right here in this room.
Who will blink first?